It's the beginning of a new work week, today, Monday, January 7. Here's what's making the news today. The Minister of Legal Affairs and Attorney General Basil Williams today filed a legal proceeding in the High Court on the no-confidence motion. More in this report.
The legal document states that the applicant, in this case Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, Basil Williams, is seeking determination for several questions relating to the December 21, 2018 vote in the National Assembly. It seeks to determine whether the Speaker's ruling that the motion was carried by a vote of a majority of all the elected members of the National Assembly is unlawful, null and void, being contrary to Article 106(6) of the Constitution. Whether the motion upon a division vote of 32 members of the National Assembly was validly passed as the requisite majority of all the elected members of the National Assembly pursuant to Article 106(6) of the Constitution. Whether the requisite majority of all the elected members of the National Assembly ought to be 34 votes. Further, it seeks to determine whether the President and all ministers of the government can remain in office as a majority vote was not duly carried in accordance with Article 106(6) of the Constitution. Whether the court can make an order setting aside or nullifying the Speaker's ruling that a motion was carried, as well as whether the court can make an order staying the enforcement of Resolution 101 declared by the Clerk of the National Assembly to have been passed on December 21, 2018 in the National Assembly. And lastly, whether the court can grant a conservatory order preserving the status quo ante that the President and all ministers of government remain in office until the hearing and determination of the questions being sought. The Attorney General cited several grounds for his application. Among them, refer or state a question of law to the High Court, especially in relation to this serious constitutional issue on the validity of a no-confidence vote pursuant to Rule 6103 of the Civil Procedure Rules 2016. The coalition government is contending that a majority of votes was not obtained to carry the December 21, 2018 vote. The full application of the case can be viewed on our website. For InfoHub, Stacey Carmichael.
President David Granger has pledged continued support for the training of local media workers as he encouraged them to continue honoring the pillars of journalism. Felicia Valenzuela has that story.
The president made the call during the annual presidential media brunch at State House on Sunday. He urged the local media workers to honor their obligation to one of the pillars of journalism, social responsibility, by ensuring accuracy in reports at all times.
You don't publish and then beg pardon. So fact-checking is an important element in your social responsibility, accuracy in your social responsibility. And I would ask that, especially this year, editors employ persons to check facts before reckless statements are made, of course, which could be harmful to individuals and the public at large.
The president restated his government's position on training for journalists, noting the availability of finance for the Ghana Press Association.
Education is important, and I would like to feel that everyone entering the profession of journalism is given some training, education, schooling in the principles of journalism. You can't go into a profession, and journalism is a profession, without knowledge.
President Granger also issued a call to the GPA to ensure the third principle of journalism, self-regulation, is also practiced.
The association is a guild, and persons who don't conform to the values and standards of the guild are sanctioned, not by government, not by the courts, the police, but by their peers. And the association is meant to regulate the behavior of journalists and to prevent them from excesses. And that is why I have so much faith in the Press Association. And that's why I will continue to support the Press Association, because it is the best way of ensuring that journalists conform to internationally recognized journalistic standards.
President Granger also thanked the media for its coverage, specifically for their sensitivity towards his illness within the last month. The head of state returned to Ghana from the Republic of Cuba on January 1st after completing another round of treatment for non-Hodgkin lymphoma. The annual media brunch is aimed at improving the relationship between the media and the state, as well as enhancing relationships within the local media fraternity. Reporting for InfoHub, Felicia Valenzuela.
The legality of the December 21 vote during the 111th sitting of the National Assembly is being challenged in the court of law. Here are the details.
On Friday, a court action was filed by Compton Herbert Reed through attorney at law and senior counsel Rex McKay's chambers. The respondents in the case are Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Basil Williams, SC, Speaker of the National Assembly Dr. Barton Scotland, and expelled AFC Member of Parliament Charandas Prasad. Minister Williams explained that the application is seeking a certain declaration from the court, given that the Speaker had advised that the matter be dealt with at the level of the court.
The claim here is restricted to the disqualification of Charandas Prasad. At the time that he voted, that he was not qualified to vote as a member of the National Assembly because of his dual citizenship.
An application was also filed seeking a conservatory order to preserve the status quo ante, that the government remains in office until the case is resolved.
It's our name, our respondent, and we would enter appearance in the matter. The other limb of the case that was put before the Speaker, that is, the majority was not properly obtained, that is also to be the subject of an application to the court.
McKay is joined by Senior Counsel Neil Boston, Senior Counsel Stanley Moore, and Robert Corbin. Sneaker Thorne, InfoHub.
Some good news in the oil and gas sector as ExxonMobil today announced that it has begun drilling one of the 2 wells planned for January, known as the Haimara 1. More in this report.
ExxonMobil has begun drilling in the Haimara 1 exploration well offshore Guyana. The well is being drilled by the Stena Carron drill ship and is located 19 miles or 31 kilometers east of the Pluma 1 discovery in the southeast Stabroek block. In a release online, President of ExxonMobil Exploration Company, Steve Greenlee, said the oil giant will continue to prioritize high-potential prospects in close proximity to previous discoveries in order to establish opportunities for material and efficient development. He added, like the Liza and Payara areas, the Turbot area is on its way to offering significant development options that will maximize value for Guyana and other partners. The Noble Tom Madden drill ship is also expected to drill the second well, Tilapia 1, located about 3 miles west of the Longtail 1 discovery. The Tilapia 1 well is located in the growing Turbot area. ExxonMobil has also been making significant progress in the Liza Phase 1 development, which has moved into its peak execution phase ahead of expected startup in early 2020. Anarakan for InfoHub.
Veteran retired Guyanese diplomat Sir Odeen Ishmael died on Saturday in the United States of America at the age of 70. More in this report.
Veteran retired Guyanese diplomat Dr. Mohammed Ali Odeen Ishmael, CCH, died on Saturday in the United States of America at the age of 70. Dr. Ishmael, who began his life as a teacher, authored several books, including the 1989 Problems of the Transition of Education in the Third World. In 1992, Dr. Ishmael represented Guyana at the meeting of Information Ministers of the Caribbean Community in Kingston, Jamaica, his first diplomatic representation. From 1993 to 2003, he represented Guyana at the Organization of American States in Washington, D.C., where he served for 2 periods as chairman of the Permanent Council. The distinguished diplomat retired from the diplomatic service in June 2014. He last served as Guyana's ambassador to Kuwait, having been appointed to the post in January 2011. In 2012, he was appointed non-resident ambassador to Qatar. In 1997, Ishmael received the Casique's Crown of Honor, Guyana's 3rd highest national honor, for his outstanding work in diplomacy. In January 2002, in Washington, D.C., United States, he was honored with the Martin Luther Legacy Award for International Service. The U.S. Congress, in a joint resolution, also paid a special tribute to him in October 2003. Dr. Ishmael leaves to mourn his wife Evangeline, his son Safraz, and daughter Nadiza.
The countdown to MASH 2019 begins with hosting of MASH Crank Up. Stay with us.
Staying on treatment for HIV can lead to a normal, healthy life. Remain on treatment once you've started. Don't share or use someone else's pills. Staying on your medication not only helps to improve your quality of life, but decreases the risk of HIV transmission to others. A message from USAID, PEPFAR, Advancing Partners and Communities Guyana, NAPS, and the Ministry of Public Health.
Welcome back. Directors of the Ministry of Public Health conducted initial supervisory visits to Agatash and 4 Miles health posts in Bartica Region 7 to determine how the quality of service provided can be improved. Delicia Haynes has the details.
The visiting team included Director of Regional and Clinical Services, Dr. K. Sheko, Director of Primary Healthcare, Dr. Erteniza Hamilton, among other program heads from Central Ministry. They all agreed that the purpose of these visits, which will intensify throughout the year, is to ensure that primary health services is of requisite standard and quality.
We're more concerned now with improving our primary health care. Why? Because it deals with the more preventative aspect of health care. And if we can zero in on prevention or preventative medicine rather than curative, well, then it means to say that we're going to reduce the high cost of health care that we have here in Guyana.
The 2 facilities in the town of Bartica both cater to large catchment areas. Therefore, new services will be established, giving residents better access to health care.
There are some areas that we would want to zero in. Number one, that will be training for our staff within these areas so that they can provide a higher level of health care. And persons can come and they can have a more targeted approach. We also want to provide the services in terms of the patients having their samples taken off and testing being done here.
Directors of the ministry, along with the Public Health Minister, also met with the Regional Executive Officer and Regional Chairman of Region 7 to strategically plan the utilization of budgetary allocations for the year 2019. For Info Hub, Delicia Haynes.
As the days count down to celebrate the country's 51st Republic anniversary, the Ministry of the Presidency's Department of Social Cohesion, Culture, Youth and Sport commenced its annual Mashramani Crank-Up event in Linden, Region 10 on Friday. Here's our final report.
Minister of Social Cohesion, Dr. George Norton, says the Mashramani Crank-Up activity demonstrates that despite current issues, the ministry will not deter from celebrating the country's Republic anniversary.
We want the public, and particularly the public in Linden, to know that this year, Mashramani is going to be like every other year we had before, and we hope it to be brighter and bigger. We don't want anybody to have that impression that there will be no MASH this year.
He reiterated that the government will ensure the holiday is celebrated without any hiccups. The ministry's intent is to show the public what is in store for Mashramani. The minister said it was highlighted by residents that though the region is considered the birthplace of the holiday, more involvement is needed for a better Mashramani this year.
What I want to assure you tonight, that quite unlike the years gone by, where after we finish in Georgetown, all the floats would head to New Amsterdam. This year, we want them to head to Linden, so that you will have one of the biggest floats here this year for the millennium.
Minister Norton was accompanied by Andrew Tyndall, official coordinator of the ministry's MASH committee, and other staff of the ministry. The event was sponsored by Banks DIH, Ansel McCall, among others. It was held at the Georgetown Bus Park in Linden. Neola Dimon, Info Hub.
That's all for this evening. Connect with us on WhatsApp, like and subscribe to our Facebook page for notifications. You can also follow us on Instagram for updates and visit our website at dpi.gov.gy. Your bridge and weather reports are up next.